Hi guys, welcome to our first session for week 1. I am your instructor, Misty Porch. Some of you have had me in past classes, some of you have not. I am a graphic designer. I've been in the print industry for 8 years. I'm also a web designer. I'm what's known as a hybrid designer. I can do both graphic design and coding. I have a bachelor's in graphic design, a bachelor's in computer science, and a master's in information systems. My teaching philosophy, guys, I'm pretty laid back. Communication is a big thing with me. If you're struggling, I'm not going to make an assignment on time. The way I look at it is, be an adult, let me know so I don't have to wonder what's going on with you. I know exactly what's happening and maybe I can help. I am your instructor. It's what I'm here for. If you're having a trouble with something, contact me and let me know so I can help you. We'll find a time to get together when you're available, and we'll get you on the same page so that you know what's going on and you understand this class. This class should be a lot of fun, guys. I love Animate, and we're going to have a lot of fun this mod with Animate. The best way to contact me is through email at misty.porch@independence.edu. I do work all day long, so getting me on the phone is usually more complicated because usually I can't answer it. So if you email me, it comes straight to me and I can get back with you pretty instantly. You can also text message me at 817-909-5597, and you will get a reply almost immediately from me then too. Answering the phone is just a little more difficult because there's usually people around and things like that, and we're not supposed to be on the phone. So if you will email me or text message me, you'll get an answer much quicker than having to wait for me to return your phone call. Our next lecture is tomorrow, Wednesday, at 2 p.m. Mountain Time. Today, we're going to go through the announcements, the software check, the course description, the course objective, the course outline, the class policy and expectations. We're going to take a look at the final project overview. We are going to be working on one project all mod long. And we're going to take a look at exactly what we're doing this week. And we're going to talk about the discussion, user interface, and user experience. And we'll have some time for questions and answers. If you have any when I get done, you can always ask your questions throughout the lecture. I will keep my eye on the chat box as best I can, so don't hesitate to ask questions. And then we're going to talk about the weekly challenge. Those of you that have already looked at the discussion for this week saw a little post and you read through the welcome email and the announcement that I post that each week we will be doing a fun challenge. Something that won't take you a whole lot of time, but it will be something that involves the skills you're going to have to use on the assignment or assessment. Our announcements. Christy is our learning coach. Her schedule is posted in the announcements that will let you know when she will be in the Student Success Center. Lynda.com is part of this class. There are some great tutorials to use that will help you with this class. Be sure you watch the Lynda videos, guys. We have 4 hours together. So that doesn't leave me a whole lot of time to teach you guys everything you need to know. So watch those Lynda videos because they will pick up in places where I left out or didn't mention, that sort of thing. With only 4 hours a week, we're limited. So you need to take advantage of lynda.com and the extra reading and tutorials that are on the course media page, because that will help make sure you have a real solid foundation for Adobe Animate. Software check. If you open up your Creative Cloud Desktop app, you need to make sure that you have installed Animate CC in mobile devices, not Flash Animate. It needs to make sure it says Flash Animate. Most of yours will say 2018, not 2015.1. You need to have the latest version, which is 2018. If you have not upgraded your Animate from 2017 or 2015, then you need to be sending Sean Childers Gray an email so that he can get you upgraded. You can send me that email if you need his email address. This course introduces basic animation skills. Topics include application and properties of common tools in the integration of audio and video for creating animation. Upon completion, students will be proficient in the functionality, interactivity, and usability of basic drawing and animating tools. That's what we're going to learn this mod in a nutshell. Our objectives, what you should be able to do once we complete this course, is define digital animation, define the perimeters of an effective animation to reach the target audience, evaluate and construct a compelling storyline for animated content, illustrate original concepts for an effective design and an effective digital animated advertisement, identify and correctly use the basic tools for creating digital animated advertisements. Integrate audio and video into an animation that enhances the UX, the user experience, and the UI, user interface. Differentiate between UX, user experience, and user interface, UI. Create and publish a digital animation. So this week, we are going to get into our intro to digital animation by defining digital animation and exploring the basic tools to create digital animation. And then we're also going to explore brainstorming methods to create effective animated advertisements and explore storyboarding methods to tell the animated story. Next week, in week 2, we're going to develop that story. You're going to be researching UX in relation to animation and how it ties into the story of an animated advertisement or infographic. You're going to be refining the story for the animated advertisement for infographic for best practices with UX. Dealing with complex artwork. Implementing complex artwork into a composition template. Exploring animation techniques with using the timeline. Using symbols as reusable assets. Week 3, you're going to be exploring advanced animation techniques using complex artwork, exploring methods to modify artwork for smooth transition, and working with actions to achieve a good user interface and provide a good user experience. Exploring scripts that control the timeline using actions, and exporting and publishing an animation. Exploring publishing settings, viewing the animation on a website, and export published files created that are needed for uploading for viewing the animation on a website is for week 4. Let's talk about our class policies and expectations. This is what the school expects and also what I expect of you guys and what you can expect from me. Communication will make for a better experience and learning environment. Don't be afraid to ask me questions. That's what I'm here for. When should you contact me beyond any doubt? Trouble uploading an assignment? Back it up by emailing it to me and putting in the comments box for the submission that you emailed it to me. School policy says I cannot grade work emailed to me unless you have left a comment in the submission box saying that you had to email it to me because Canvas wouldn't upload it. And then I can grade it by the email you sent me. Can't meet a deadline. Questions on an assignment after watching the live session and reading the instructions. Make sure you email those things to me. There is no reason for you to feel lost or stressed out. This class should be fun. It's Adobe Animate, and we're going to be playing with animation. It should be fun. Due dates are Saturday at 11:59 Mountain Time, the week they are assigned. Your discussions, your initial posts are due on Wednesday by 11:59 Mountain Time. You must have 2 replies on separate days. They need to be done by Saturday, the week that it is assigned. Late work accepted on assignments and assessments for week 1 past the deadlines for week 1 through 3. A 20% deduction will be made for work submitted past the deadline. Discussions will be closed for comments on their deadline. No post or replies can be made after the discussion is closed. Resubmission. I encourage reworking an assignment to bring it up to portfolio quality, or an assignment that is a step to create a portfolio quality project. The final assessment will require making changes per the critique and feedback from previous weeks. If you miss the deadline for regrading, you can still submit for feedback to improve the next phase of the project. Now, guys, with that said, that is the school policy on resubmitting and turning in late work, etc. My policy, what you can expect from me, if you turn it in, as long as it's before the last Saturday of the mod, if you turn it in, I'm going to grade it and you're going to get a grade. So if you're willing to do the work, I'm willing to do the grading. I do use a rubric for all discussions, assignments, and assessments. Reviewing these will give you a very good indication of what is expected when turning in your work. If you aren't sure, ask me. File naming is the easiest point you can get. Meet the submission deadline is the second easiest point you can get. 80% of the assignment or assessment must be completed in order to receive on-time points. Grading for week 1 through 3 will be done by the following Wednesday of the week it is due. Week 4 by noon, Monday after the end of the mod. Normally, you will have your grades back by Sunday, Monday evening, depending on how many classes I'm teaching, what's going on, that sort of thing. Most of the time, you'll have your grades back no later than Monday evening. On week 4, you will have them back by Sunday evening. Submit it. You can submit for feedback. If you would like me to just look over what you have and tell you if you need to fix anything before you actually submit it for a grade, you're more than welcome to email it to me at misty.porch@independence.edu. You can also submit it early. While yes, I will grade it, I'm also going to tell you what's wrong with it, and then you have plenty of time to go back and fix it and resubmit it so that I change your grade. Extensions to turn in late work without penalty. If there are documentable extenuating circumstances, such as medical, military, or death in the immediate family member, these will be examined on a case-by-case basis. You need to contact me at least 12 hours before the deadline requesting an extension and submit what you've done. No extensions after the end of the mod. Now then, with that said, I know how life can be, guys. I know how work or family or sickness and a million other things going on in life can keep you from getting your homework done on time. If you email me before the deadline, that is the requirement. There's 2. You email me before the deadline and you email me. That's it. Tell me you're not going to make it, you're not going to get things submitted on time, and tell me when you're going to have it submitted. Those are the requirements. You contact me before the deadline and you tell me when you're going to have it submitted, and I'll give you an extension until that day. That way you don't get docked late points. But you do have to contact me and you do have to tell me when you're going to have it turned in by. Like I said, I am pretty laid back, more than happy to work with you guys if you communicate with me. This mod, we're going to have lots of fun. By the end of the mod, you will be able to conceptualize, create, produce, and publish an animated advertisement to be presented in your professional portfolio. You are going to choose a company or ask me to assign you a company that would be a candidate for an animated advertisement that is seen on their website. This is a self-promotional ad for themselves, not an ad banner on another website. So it doesn't have to have their logo or anything like that in it because it's going on their website. It can be a new product release, a service that they want to promote, or something that is fun and entertaining that will capture their target audience and promote sales. Use an actual company instead of a made-up one. This will make it easier to research the company for an ad that will target their audience. Example companies. You can choose any company you want, but these are some examples. Florist or nursery, doctor or dentist, a food business like a bakery or a coffee shop or a cafe or anything like that. Animal adoption, travel or outdoor activity company. You're just going to pick one of those companies and choose a real life company in one of those areas and create an ad for them. Digital animation has to be your discussion this week. Digital animation has become so prevalent in online and mobile content that graphic designers are being asked more and more to conceptualize these mini movies to advertise a product or service for their client. These are not video commercials. They are animated graphics that are engaging, fun to watch, and interact with, and capture the audience's attention. For the first part of this discussion, research what the role is of a graphic designer in digital animation and what types of things need to be considered to create a good user experience, or UX, and best practices for creating a good UI, user interface, when creating these animations, writing a summary of your findings, and to be sure to cite your sources. ProQuest or Shark links are a great place to start. You will find a lot of stuff on Google as well, and that is perfectly acceptable. For the second part of this discussion, find one example of what you think is effective digital animated advertising. In your own words, tell us why. Refer to your research you did in the first part to help express your reasons. Be sure to include a link to your example. Let's talk a little bit about user interface. UI design produces a skin or product's visual graphic presentation. Senses a product's reactivity and interactivity in response to a user's input or different display environments. In makeup, a product guides, hints, and directives that visually lead users through their experience. So, user interface is all about the look and feel. User's interface is, that's the nutshell. It's the look and feel, the presentation and the interactivity of a product. User interface is multifaceted and challenging. It's responsible for the transference of product development, content and layout into an attractive, guiding, and responsive experience for users. The UI role is crucial to any digital interface, and for customers, a key element of trusting the brand. User interface also has a lot to do with responsiveness and interactivities. The customer analysis. You have responsibilities when you're a UI designer, or you are concentrating on the UI design of whatever you're building. There's some things you want to do. You want to do your customer analysis, your problem and solution. Problem may be that they have a whole lot of shoes in stock. So that's the problem. They have too many shoes in stock. So the solution would be to sell those shoes, right? How do you reach that solution? Well, have a sell on that specific shoe so they sell more. And that solves the problem of them having too many. You need to do your design research. How to address the solution using visual graphics. You need to look at the branding and graphic development. You want to make sure there's emphasis on your company and solution. Make sure that there's a story. You need to lead the viewer with your graphics and basically tell a quick, simple, short story that leads them from point A, the problem, to point B, the solution, and what they need to do, which in the case of too many shoes and having a shoe sale would mean at the end you need that user to purchase shoes. The whole goal of your animation, your overall goal, it should be to solve the problem, to make sure the user does something when they are finished watching your advertisement. They need to do whatever it is that will solve the problem you identified. UI responsiveness and interactivity. We're talking UI prototyping, sketching and storyboarding, interactivity and animation. Tell the story, make your motions clean, incorporate the principles of animation. Adaptation to all device and screen sizes. That's where the responsiveness comes in, of course. HTML5 Canvas makes that pretty easy. Implementation with developers. Lots of times when you're working on animated ads, you're going to be working with a team. Not always. I do a lot of small animation like this that I don't do it in a team. I do it all myself. But sometimes you end up working in a team. And you have to make sure that your communication skills are top notch. You can't fail to communicate with your other team members because then things start getting messed up. Make sure you're doing prototyping, sketching, storyboarding to make sure that your storyline is going to make sense and really goes from point A to point B to the point the user is going to want to do whatever it is you want them to do. Interactivity and animation. Tell a story. Make your motions clean. Incorporate the principles of animation. HTML5 Canvas is multifaceted, guys. It will do all sorts of stuff. It will adjust to screen sizes and things like that. Implementation with developers, again, communication. You have to have it. There is no way around it. Oops. Wireframing and prototyping. You're going to be doing a lot of testing. There's no way around that. Especially in animation, you'll be testing every single animation, every small animation you do within that animation to make sure it's working right and it's fluid and it's not glitchy and things like that. So testing is going to be a big part of what you spend a lot of your time doing. You will be creating something, testing it, making sure that part looks right. Yep, creating the next piece, testing it, make sure everything flows together well, making adjustments when you need to make them, that sort of thing. Now let's talk about user experience and what the responsibilities are when you are doing UX design and concentrating on the actual user experience. Execution and analytics. That's pretty much what user experience is all about. You are going to want to take a look at the competitors to that company that you're doing the advertisement for. Kind of do a short assessment of the strengths and the weaknesses of the current and potential competitors. You want to make sure you do a customer analysis. Identify the target audience, ascertain their needs, and then specify how the product satisfies these needs. That will help you with your storyline. Product and structure and strategy. A representation of the way in which the parts of a product fit together and interact, organized in levels of detail based on structure. A product structure is used to manage changes, testing, and problem resolution for complex problems with a large number of interdependent parts and functions. Content development. The process of researching, writing, gathering and organizing and editing information. Your storyline. User experience design is the process of development and improvement of quality interaction between the user and every single facet of the company. User experience design is responsible for being hands-on with the process of research, testing, development, content, and prototyping. User experience design is, in theory, a non-digital cognitive science, but used and defined prominently by digital industries. What does that mean? Well, let's think about it. You have an experience in everything you do. Think about the last time you went and bought a car. We've all had really good experiences buying a car, and we've all had some really, really bad experience buying a car. Ultimately, that was your user experience. That's what I'm talking about. User experience is what the user is left feeling, and it's all over. And it should never be bad. It should always be good, because if you have a good user experience, they are more than likely going to do exactly what you want them to do. So when you think about user experience, it's all about the user. That means it's all about your target market. So you have to know that target market. You can't just guess. You have to do some research, find out who your target market are, and then sit down and think about the things they like. Sometimes that means you need to do some additional research. Sometimes that means you need to go out and find some people in that target market and ask them some questions about the things they like to see, how they like things advertised to them, things like that. You can always find people willing to take a survey, guys. Always. Don't be afraid to ask them. Because if you don't know your target market, you don't know your user, and therefore you can't produce a good user experience. Because what they expect is going to be different than what another target market expects. And you want the user experience for your specific target market to be good, not the user experience to be good for another target market. Make sense? So let's talk about UI, UX, and UI. Think about the things we just talked about while you watch this animated video.
Is it possible to love a bank? Well, it's surprising who you can build a relationship with, isn't it? I mean, take BOQ, for instance. They're not like the other banks. They do more to get to know you better. They really do. So, yeah, I guess it is possible to love a bank. Her favourites.
Now, that was a very, very short video. I mean, it was a whole 30 seconds long. But it was also very entertaining. And I hope you guys noticed, the graphics were very, very simple. There wasn't just a whole lot of movement. And that is the idea between animated advertisements. It's not that there's all this stuff going on and all these things moving around. It's about simple graphics, simple movement that tell a story and get the user's attention so they watch it. That is the ultimate goal. So when you think about that video, how's the look? What'd you notice? Ah, yes, the background is lighter. That added depth, didn't it? Usually you think about the background being darker, lighter, blurrier, that sort of thing. In this case, it was lighter, and it worked perfectly. The little bird on the trees, yes, that was just an additional animation just to add some extra livelihood instead of just having two characters stand there talking to each other and having a little bit of movement right in the foreground. Added that little bird to the background just to add some extra interest. How did it feel? Yes, it was very friendly. It was very low key and laid back. It was inviting, right? Did it move too fast or did it move too slow? I agree. I think it was the perfect speed. It wasn't too slow. It wasn't too fast. It was very easy to follow, and I didn't get bored. What else stood out to you? Why? Yeah, the little extras they had going on, the deer scratching his belly a little bit, the beard moving a little bit, just the extra little movements they had going on besides the main movements of swinging their arms and eating the flowers and things like that. They had all those little extra facial movements, the deer scratching his stomach, that sort of thing. That's what makes the video more real. Yes, we all know it wasn't real. I mean, those were cartoon characters basically. But because of those little extras, it gives it a more real feel. As far as the human brain is concerned, we start relating to it. And that's what you want, because when you can make the user start to relate to what's going on, they start really listening and they're more prone to do what you want them to do. Okay, guys. So that is pretty much the ins and outs of your discussion. And the first technical bits about the things you're going to need to know this week. So we're going to jump right into the weekly challenge. As I mentioned earlier, those of you that have already looked over the discussion or you read your email and checked the announcements messages, you know that I will be doing a challenge every week that will just help practice your skills. Now this week, we're doing our storyboard and stuff for the assignment, but I want to go ahead and start having you guys really check into getting to know Animate and playing with it and doing something really fun and cute. So the challenge this week is to introduce yourself. You're going to animate your name and you're going to create 3 icons or text boxes that say something about you. Could be anything. And it says icons. It doesn't necessarily have to be icons. And we're going to play around with a few different things today. Just make something, your name, animate it, and then have something happen. 3 icons would be great so that you can have them move on and off the screen, things like that. You'll get an idea as we play with animating my name. So we're going to jump right over to Animate. And here it is. Adobe Animate. Yay! I need to resize this so that I can still see the chat box here. Give me just a second. There we go. There we go. Okay. Now then, I'm going to start. Now, I want to make this clear to you guys right off the bat. There are going to be lots of places in your instructions where it says to create an ActionScript 3 document. I want you to ignore it. You will be creating HTML5 Canvas documents throughout this class. This class is in serious need of a rewrite, and it is on the list. I will be the one rewriting it. It just hasn't came up. It hasn't came up in the queue yet. As soon as it does, I will rewrite it and fix all of these things. But for now, just ignore it when it tells you to create an ActionScript 3 document. I want you to be working in HTML5 Canvas only. So I'm going to create new HTML5 Canvas, and it gives me an automatic artboard. And you can see default size right over here on the sides. Default size and Animate is 550 by 400. That works perfectly for what we're doing and the challenges. So I'm just going to clear that. And Then I need to give it a background. Go in here to my stage color right here. And I'm going to pick a background. I think we'll go with that kind of washed out pinkish color. And I'm going to need my name. So I want to make sure that I get a script that I want. I think this script will work fine with my name. I'm going to make a text box across here. And type my name. Grab my black arrow. I want to make this bigger. That's better. Here's my name. And I want to animate every individual letter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up, choose my text box, make sure it's selected. I'm going to go to modify. And I want to, at first, I was working on an actual animation earlier. I'm on dynamic text at this moment. I need to change that. I want it to be static text, which means that I actually can't use that font because it is a web font. So I need to change my font here a little bit. Hold on a second. Let me find something that will work. This will work. Let me change that to static. $25, $140, $140 will work. Okay, so I'm going to choose that. I think I want to spread out my letters just a little bit here. That works. And then I'm going to go to modify. I'm going to choose break apart. You see what it's done? It's given me individual letters. So now everything is individual. So what I'm going to do is right click on this frame down here at the bottom. Let's talk about this bottom portion, your timeline. This is basically your ruler bar that tells you what frame and how many seconds you're on the animation. This is a frame, frame 1. And then you've got little bitty frames in between there until you get to frame 5. At frame 24, you hit 1 second. And that's because, if you look right down here at the bottom, your animation is set to run at 24 frames per second. That means there's 24 frames between each second. And then these little individual squares that you see here, those are all frames. Right now we only have 1 frame because it's gray. Unselect it so you can see it. Because it's light gray, it has a black circle in it. That black circle says, hey, there's something inside that frame. There's something there. It's not just empty. It's the start of the keyframe where the object first appears in those frames. So if I added 24 frames, oops, not a keyframe, just a frame. If I add 24 frames, you see there's a dot and then there's a square at the very end. That says that this object appears from frame 1 to frame 24. If you go past that, there's nothing there. If I was to insert an empty keyframe, it would disappear because my name ended on frame 24. So now that I have my name up here, I need to animate it. And I'm going to want that animation to last way more than 1 second. So I'm going to go out your animation should last about 10 seconds. So I'm going to go out here to 10 seconds and I'm going to insert frame. You can right click, insert frame. You can go up to the top and go to insert timeline and click frame, or you can hit the F5 button on your keyboard. Some of you that are working on a laptop will have to hold down your function key, the FN key at the bottom of your keyboard, and then hit F5 for that shortcut to work. So now I need to distribute all of those onto different layers. I'm going to go to modify and let's see if they have taken it off here. They may have taken it off and I can't do it anymore from the shortcut. Come on. There it is. Right click, distribute to layers. And you can see there's the N, the I, the S, the T, the Y. And now I can animate all of those. So I'm going to go to into my timeline because I want to do some interesting motions here. I'm going to go to 2 seconds. I'm just going to pull this back to 2 seconds. And I'm going to right click on it. I'm going to say create motion tween. Okay, it says, okay, what do you want to do? Well, I'm going to grab my transform tool and I'm going to tuck it this way. Oops. I want to go halfway. 1 second. I'm going to put my playhead. That's what this little red square with the red line, that's called the playhead. I'm going to put it at 1 second. I'm going to tilt my M this way. Then I'm going to go out here to number 2, where it's at 2 seconds at the end, and tilt it back like that. And so if I grab this playhead and hold my mouse button down, I can drag it. And we can see what's going on here. That works pretty good right there. I want to copy this because I want it to keep playing for 10 seconds. So I'm going to right click on top of it. And I'm going to go to copy frames. And I'm going to click in that empty frame where there was nothing at all and right click again. And I'm going to go paste frames. And I'm going to do it again. Paste frames. And again. One more time, and that should do it. Paste frames, that gives me my 10 seconds. So then I need to do the same thing up here. To grab this. Oops, let me select that layer, there it goes. And I'm going to drag this back to 2 seconds. And I'm going to go back to 1 second here. Right click, convert, create motion tween, 1 second. And I want to do it the opposite direction. Let's go this way a little bit. Like that. And go out to 2 seconds. And I'm going to brush it back down. So now, this is what we have going on for my motion. That looks pretty good. So I'm going to copy that again. Copy. Paste frames. I'm going to copy these again so we can do this a little faster. Now I can paste 2 at once. Paste frames. Now I need only 1. So I'm going to highlight that. It's like highlighting text. You have to hold your mouse button down and drag all at one time. You can't click and then try and hold your mouse button down. You have to hold your mouse button down and drag all at one time. So copy. And paste. So now I got some shaky letters going on there. So there's my next one. I want to do the same thing. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing on all of these layers. So let me select them all. And I'm just going to drag them all back to 2 seconds so we don't have to keep doing that over and over. All right, there. Okay, so now we have the S. I click create motion tween. And I want this one to go this way. And then back here to go this way. Pretty good. Copy frames. Paste. Paste. And this little bar right here allows you to make your frames bigger and smaller. And for a moment, I'm going to take this, I'm going to draw them backwards so I can see all my frames in there and make it a little easier for me to paste. Paste like that. And then I can just grab it, make it a little bigger, back to the size I want it so that I can really work with it. And this bar is what slides your timeline. It keeps it the same size, but it allows you to move up and down the timeline. Okay, so now we're on this one. Right click, create motion tween. And this time I'm going this way. And then backwards. And copy. Make those frames smaller. Paste. 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 And then we're at this one. Right click, create motion tween. And this time I need to go this direction. 2 seconds. Back straight. Copy. Paste. 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 So there's my name. So I'm going to bring my timeline back out so that it's usable here. And I'm going to go back to the start and I'm going to play it. I'll look at what's going on here. That looks pretty good. So I'm going to clear my drawing here. That's the first part. So now I need some little icons maybe, or I need something extra here around my name, right? I need to do something here that makes a little difference. Well, I'm going to do something. I'm going to do something here. And let's see how I want to make this work. I'm going to take this, and I'm actually going to zoom in here a bit more so I can really see this because I need to draw something kind of small. So I want to be sure I see it really well. And I'm going to change this to a rough charcoal kind of brush, like chalk. And not chalky enough for me. Let's try this again. Is there something rougher? Let's try this one. And let's make it a little smaller, 0.5. It's a little bit of a butterfly. I don't like my wings so much though. That's better. And so now I have this butterfly. I'm going to select it all. And I'm going to go to create motion tween. It's going to turn it into a symbol. It's going to say, hey, this has to be converted to a symbol. I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to go back here to frame 1. And now I'm going to zoom back out to 100%. And I want to make sure I start this butterfly where I want it. And turn it the direction I want it to start, like that. And I'm going to go out here for 1 second. And I need to move that butterfly where I want it to go the first time. I'm going to go like this. And you see I got this nice little line here. Well, if I hover over it, you can see how my cursor changes, because things don't usually fly in a straight line. So I curved that line a little bit. That's pretty good. I'm going to click on this first frame, and you can see my properties panel change. I'm going to click Orient to Path, and I'm going to grab my transform box. You see this little white dot in the middle of that transform box? I want it to come up here at the head of my butterfly, because that is where it needs to orient. So now you see my butterfly flies a little bit differently. So there's 1 second. So now I'm going to go out to 2 seconds. I need to make my butterfly do something a little differently. I want it to come down here, this, hover over this line, grab my black arrow, hover over that line. I want to bring it out like this. Go. That's going to be really glitchy. There are other things you can do if you want to make a custom path. Let's undo this so I don't have a path left. I have my motion tween. I'm going to make a new layer. I'm going to grab my pencil tool. I'm going to start right here at his antennas. And I'm going to draw the path in which I want my butterfly to take. And I want it to end up there. So I'm going to grab my black arrow now. I'm going to double click this line. So it highlights it like that. And I'm going to go to Edit, Cut. And I'm going to click back on my motion tween. Go to Edit, Paste in Place. And you can see my butterfly starts where the line actually ended. I need to fix that. So I'm going to right click. And I'm going to say Reverse Keyframes. So now my butterfly starts where it's supposed to start. And it will fly. I need to orient it to path again. Oh, put a check mark next to orient to path. And now my butterfly flies. So let's take a look at that in action. And he stops right there. Now, my butterfly doesn't show up very well, so I could go into my butterfly, choose my libraries panel right here at the top, right here, and then double click on the thumbnail, which is this little picture next to my symbol. I double click right there, it opens up my butterfly. If I go into my properties panel now, I could change it. Let's say we want my butterfly to be blue. And I'm going to zoom in there some, grab my paintbrush, and go to that one. Oops. Deselect it for a second. There we go. Paintbrush. That one. And let's do some greenish color. And now I could go through here. And just kind of add a little bit of a design through here to give it some color. And I'm going to click up here at the top. Oops. Oh, guys, I unshared with you. Sorry about that. Here we go. And then I'm going to click right here at the top where it says Scene. I'll click Scene 1, and it's going to take me back to my design. And you can see those changes now have been made. So I rewind and I hit play again. Now we can see it fly over the top of my letters, and it's not so blended in. That's the way I want it to look. So there's one thing I did. So what else could I do? Well, there's quite a bunch of stuff that you could do. You can do anything you want to. So what if we add, let's grab our brush. Actually, let's grab my circle tool. I think that will work better. And oops, I'm going to do a white. I'm going to make a circle here, here, circle here, 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 some random circles. And select them. Do, 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 do. And I'm going to create objects. I may have to do these one at a time. No, there we are. Okay, I'm going to select them all. Oops, click on my layer. They're all selected. Come on. There you go. And I'm going to go into my color. I want to turn my opacity down a little bit. Oops. I'm going to turn my opacity down so that they're kind of see-through. Like that. I want to turn the stroke off. I don't want to stroke on them at all. So we get something like that. Now I'm not finished. I'm going to make a new layer. Grab my circle tool again. This time, I'm going to make bigger circles. Like that. And I think I'll do one more. Oops. I want circles. Like that. So now I need to add motion twins here. So I'm going to go back down to layer 7. I'm going to create motion twin. And I want to go out to 2 seconds. And I'm going to click, grab my black arrow. I'm going to click on one of those circles. And you can see over here I have this panel called Color Effects. I'm going to go to Alpha. And I want to turn that alpha down to 0. And then I'm going to go out to 4 seconds. Nope, I'm going to go out to 6 seconds. I'm going to go out to 6 seconds, click where those circles are supposed to be, and I want to turn my alpha back up. I want to make it bright. That. And then let's see, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Click on a circle. I'm going to take that alphabet down to 0. So now I'm going to go up to the next one. Right click, create motion twin. Okay, we're going to turn all those to a symbol. So I want them to start back to alpha. I want them to start at 0. I don't want them to be visible at first. They need to be at 0. And then I'm going to go out to 2 seconds and click on them. Oops. Click on them and 100. And then 6 seconds. Click on them, 0. 10 seconds. So I do that right. 2. Uh-oh, I think we're messed up here. Hold on, guys. 2. Now, this needs to come back to 4. You can also, if you screw that up like I did, you can click on a keyframe and move it back to where you want it. So now we go. That looks better. Bring that one to 5. And this one should be at 8, I believe. Where are we at? No, it should be at 6. It should be at 6. No, it should be at 7. And then there should be one at 9. It turns these back on like that. Yes, that is correct. Okay, and then we have this one. We're going to start it a little later. We're going to start it at 3 seconds. And then that means this one should be at 5. Then we should have one. This one should be at 6. And then we should have one at somewhere right in here in the middle, I think. Let's see what we've got. This has disappeared. They disappear at 2. These should appear at 2. These should appear at 2. And they disappear at 4. Appear at 4. Oops. This should have disappeared at 4. And then we have 7. So if I want to mix this up just a little bit, I'm going to go back to 6. And at 6, oops. We are at 6. I want to make these appear again. And then at 8, disappear. And at 10, reappear like that. Yes, I think that will work. And then we have our last set, which is here. Right click, create motion tween. Okay. I think we'll start at 1 on these. And on frame 1, I need these to be invisible. So I'm going to go to alpha, 0, and go out to 1 second. And click on a circle. Oops. And go to 100. And then go to 3. back to 0, 5, back to 100, 7, back to 0, 9, back to 100. So let's rewind and let's see what we've got going on here. One of these lasts a little longer than I wanted to at the beginning. So let's go back here. I'm going to pull my playhead all the way back. And now I'm going to move it slowly forward. Right there. What layer is this? Yes, that's the long span. It needs a break right here. I need to go to 0. And then here, oops, 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 oops. Light off. It should be on right here. On. And then here, they should be off again. Okay, everything cannot be off right here. On. Both of these are on at the same time. We need to stagger these a little bit more. Let's go back here. On, off, that means these should be on. These should go here. There we go. I'll stagger that one just a little bit. There we go. On. Let's go back here. Good. They're all off though. Something needs to come back on. On. Off. Something should have been on right through here. Let's pick a spot. On. And we end up in the dark again. Here. That's better. Okay, let's watch that one more time. Go through here. That's looking much better. Very good. Okay, I think that will do it. Okay, so that gives me two things. I've got my name animated, I've got an icon, I got my little dot icons. So now I need something else. And that something else, again, can be whatever you guys want it to be. So I think we'll do a little playing with the line tool. I'm going to do a dashed line. And we'll take a line, draw it like that. That. Draw some lines. Oops. Draw some lines through here. Delete that line. Try this again. Better. Better. Add another line through here. I have to move it some, but I'll move it down here like that. I'm going to lock all these layers and select all these lines and go into my alignment, and I want to space them evenly. I want to space them very well for me to match width, match height. Well, there we go. It's kind of random through here, but that's okay. Let's see if I can make it distribute in a way that will even them up a little bit. Anytime you get catty-cornered stuff, it's a little harder. I should have made the line straight first. Let's go here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I'm going to select them all. Now I can space them, and I want to match the width. Not of the artboard though. Uncheck align to artboard. And align them all to the left, so they're all nice and straight across there. I'm going to grab my transform tool, and now I'm going to actually turn these sideways. Like that. Select them again. I'm going to copy it and paste it. I want to take this right up there, like that. I'm going to paste one more. And lift it down here at the bottom. Like that. And I'm going to select all of them. Right click, create motion tween. Okay. I made them a symbol again. And this time I'm going to zoom out to like 25% so I can see everything. I'm going to grab this, and I want the motion tween to start with all of those lines off my artboard. Like that. And so I'm going to go all the way out here to 10 seconds. And I'm going to grab these lines and pull them all the way down and off my artwork. And 100. let's do fit in window. There we go. And rewind and play. That's working pretty good. I think, though, I want to click on these lines. I want to go to alpha, and I want it to be 0. But I don't want it to start disappearing until right here. So I'm going to go back, click on this line. I'm going to change my alpha to 100 so they're still, so they don't start disappearing until right there at the very end. And I think I might want them to disappear a little bit faster at like 9 seconds. Click on that line. I'm going to make them disappear a bit faster. So now, let's watch this again. Now then, we've got a simple animation, something you can have fun with, something you can practice your skills with. That is the whole idea, guys. So have fun with this challenge. Once you've done the challenge, you're going to go to File, Save As. And you're going to save it as your name. I'm just going to stick it on my desktop. Save. And then you're going to go to File, and you're going to go to Export. Oops, File, Export, and you're going to do Export Animated GIF. And your computer's going to think for a second. And it's going to process. And you're going to see it exported. Now then, what I want you to look at is down here in this bottom right-hand corner. You can see my colors are different. I'm going to show you why. Down here in this bottom right-hand corner, you see it's 1.68 megabytes. You need to make sure that you don't get above 3 megabytes so that you keep your file size down. Mine is set at 1.681 because I'm at 16 colors. If I change this to 64, my colors look more real, but you see what's happening to my megabytes over there. They're getting bigger. So I need to see how far I can go up and still keep things under 3. 2.74, and I've got perceptual, selective. There's the actual color of my original artwork, and I'm at 2.977 megabytes. That's still a fairly decent size. Usually the smaller you can get it, the better off you are. If I shows adaptive, let's see what that brings me down just a little bit, 2.90. I like this color. I think I'll probably keep it. Let's see what restrictive web will do. Restrictive web is pretty good too. I don't mind this color, and it brings my file size down really, really small. And that is the whole idea. So I'm going to stick with restrictive web, and color set it auto. And I'm going to do save. And it's going to save it to my desktop again. And then you're going to go into your classroom. Let me switch my screen here. You're going to go into your classroom and you're going to click on accounts and you're going to go to files. And you can upload it in a folder or not in a folder at all and simply hit upload. And go to your desktop and find your animated GIF. And you're going to hit open. I have so much stuff in my files. It's not going to let me open it. Let me see if I can get rid of some stuff in here. Okay, I can get it. Oops, nope. I want to get rid of this. Delete. And now let's see, let me upload. I'm still at too much. Let's see if there's something else I can get in here and get rid of. Let's see. Delete. Now, let's see, retry. You guys probably won't have this problem, but it looks like for some reason when I'm downloading assignments, they're saving to my campus, and they shouldn't be. Let's see what else I can get rid of. Unfile. Conversation attachments. I should be able to delete everything in this folder. Let's see if there's a way to do it all at one time, preferably. Come on. You guys should not have this problem. If you do, that's how you fix it. Okay, let's see. Let me refresh this and see what it's gone down to now. The big files in here. Let's see. That fixed me. Looky there. Okay, so now I can upload my image. Oh, here we are. Open. And it's going to upload. And it uploaded. So now I'm going to go into our classroom. And I'm going to go into the discussion for week 1. And you can see I have a post here for the challenge. You're simply going to hit reply. And put your cursor in the little box. Oops. And hit this little picture, embed image. Click it. Go to Canvas. And my files. I think it's in my files. Let's see if I can find it through here. It is in conversation attachments. There it is. And update. And post. And that's the challenge for week 1. Share your work. Encourage your fellow students to practice. Doesn't have to be anything spectacular, guys. Just something simple that shows you've been practicing the tools. That's what it's all about. That's how you really learn to do animation. It takes practice. It takes getting to know Animate and the tools and the things you can do. So just practice with it and have fun. Most importantly, guys, have fun. Okay, guys, tomorrow we will be going over the assignment and the assessment. So I will see you guys tomorrow for our live lecture. I will be posting the recording for this lecture on the live lecture page, where you can find all of the lectures for all ModLog. They will always get posted on this page under their weekly heading. All right, tomorrow's lecture is at 2 p.m. Mountain Time. So I will see you guys then.